Hey everyone, I just want to talk about what it feels like to survive, but then step into thrive or to live. And I think this is a really interesting experience because when we come from a complex history of trauma or just a lot of adverse experience, and we've spent most of our life in a survival mode or in a kind of crisis management mode, then really stepping into life is actually a really, really bizarre and challenging experience. And this is where the coaching is really, really useful. I do a lot of work with trauma. That seems to be my primary kind of client base. And a lot of the time it's developmental. So what that means is to say we have these relational experiences a lot of the time which are traumatic, whether that's with our primary caregiver or just things that happen to us as we're growing up, as we're developing. Life happens and that really pushes us in certain directions. So sometimes that pushes us into a state of such high activation that our body doesn't really relax from that point on. And we're always hypervigilant, trying to seek out threat and concern and harm wherever we can find it. And over time, maybe we build a lot of resilience around that and we're able to cope fairly well. For myself personally, I was able to cope. I was still able to I was able to go to school, university, I was able to work. And I had a really, really immensely strong kind of mental resilience. But I didn't have a very strong physical resilience in the end of the day. I thought I did. I thought I was really young and really strong, and I was self-medicating and self-soothing with a lot of alcohol and drugs when I was younger. And I really never thought that it was possible, but my body failed me. I developed an autoimmune problem, started having seizures and tremors and all manner of things. So my body totally failed me. And that was a really, really interesting experience and a very hard experience to repair. It was able to be repaired, but it took me on a bit of a wild goose chase. So one thing that I want to really talk about now is what it means to step out of that survival, because we become very identified with survival. It becomes very meaningful and it really fills our life with a lot of tasks and a lot of things to do. But when we have to step into a space of living, then we have all these decisions to be made. And then we have a lot of responsibility as well. Our responsibility, it really becomes much bigger than ourselves. And that can be frightening for anybody who's spent a lot of time in survival. That the thought of having to be responsible for anything more than just ourselves and our immediate safety feels contrary. It feels like it's actually, it feels like it goes against the grain of what we really need, because our central nervous system is primed, and maybe for good reason, to really look after our own safety. And if we have been primed and if we have had that experience wired and repeated for such a long time, which many of us have, then stepping into a space where we actually put ourselves in some way second and start viewing the world as something which is equally important to be part of, that requires you to step out of yourself. And when we initially start to do this, we're going to jump back in. It's that when we realize how scary it is to live life fully and presently, we realize how small our comfort zone can be. And stepping out of that comfort zone really enables us to kind of widen our capacity to be with others and to be with the world, and to, on a bigger level, to be able to contribute, and not just contribute to what the world is asking from us, but actually give something to the world as well, whether that's in our skills, in our story, in our presence. And this is a really, really interesting space to work in. It's a really rewarding space because I find that we need a lot of not just encouragement, but we need to know how to do this. And we need to feel comfortable in trying, because there's going to be trial and there's going to be error, and there's going to be spaces that you enter into which are just going to be, this is just way beyond my comfort zone. This is not what I want to be doing. I'm just going to go back here because it feels better. It feels more safe. And of course, your life experience and your body and your central nervous systems and probably brain's experience too is it's better to stay put. It's better to stay safe. If you stay still, if you stay safe, then you're going to survive. But there comes a point where we want to step away from that. We want to say, but I am surviving, that's enough. I want to live now. I'm gonna start taking risks again. And this is beautiful to witness. It's in a way, it's like the bird leaving the nest that we never really got to leave. And I know that this is a really common thing because I see this a lot with young, especially young men, because they're really looking for a way to leave the nest, but they've never really had the opportunity to do that. So initiation is a really fundamental part of how we do that. And that's about, we just have to jump sometimes and see where we land. Sometimes we break an ankle landing. And sometimes we just have to spend a bit of time healing. But there is inherent risk in living. And so inherently we need courage and bravery in order to step into that. And there's no guarantees that you're not going to get hurt in that. And I think this is the interesting aspect of stepping into a space of life and thriving, is to do that with enough confidence to see what comes back. And I know all of this has been greatly exacerbated through COVID because we've been pushed back so far in many ways. We've been pushed back into our own space, and we've had to redefine our own space on a level which is very profound, because we now include our own space, that our breath, and the 1 meter around us. We have this kind of, no, this is now my space. But this is my space that I need to keep me safe, but I need to keep you safe by keeping you out of it as well. So there's all these new dimensions that we're having to negotiate, which a lot of us have never really negotiated before. And on top of all the already complex nature of living in today's society, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back for a lot of us. So I've gone into a little bit of extra territory, which I seem to do frequently when I make videos. But I hope you found it interesting. I kind of lost track of what I was really talking about to begin with, but I think it was just about moving from surviving to thriving and that journey. So if you would like to like and subscribe, I'd be really grateful. It enables a bit more reach, and I know that a lot of people are really seeking this type of information and this type of, if anything, it's validation that these experiences are really normal. So, but that doesn't make them happy, or that doesn't make them comfortable. So if you would like to share part of your story with moving from surviving to thriving, I'd love to hear it. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.